area, they like to work for a short period of time, take a break, work for a short period of time, take a break. This has been the lifestyle from your medieval times. However, it was not possible for them to do that in a regular in a permanent job. So for such people, gig economy is a perfect platform, right? So and also these digital platforms that have emerged as enablers for employment creation with power to easily discover job seekers and job providers, right? So back in 2000, InfoEdge launched a platform, right? That was Naukri.com. It made huge difference to the way people seek job and apply job in India, right? It was a marketplace for employees and employers, employees and employers to search for talent. Employers can search for talent, and employees can search through various kinds of jobs. It opened a complete market. What was it 20 years ago? It was completely different, right? So McKinsey had done a report on digital platforms for labor, and they said that there has been a rapid increase in the adoption of the economy, right? So there are technical platforms, transaction costs for outsourcing non-core activities in reducing and facilitating increase in the number of tasks which can be performed by each worker. Firms are shrinking in size, right? See, I would keep mentioning COVID again and again. The reason is because we are facing this crisis at this time. Okay, so what happened during COVID times is that a lot of companies started downsizing, right? So they start throwing out people, saying that you're not relevant to me, you're not relevant to me at this point in time. I think Swiggy or Swiggy. I think they fired I think more than 1,000 people. And platforms such as your live space, your interior development platforms, they fired a lot of people. They converted their entire business model. There was a paradigm shift which was happening. So what happens when such kind of a crisis comes, right? The most impacted are the people who are directly employed, right? So employers are also impacted because their incomes are hit, their what do you say, their profit margins go down, their overheads increase. So that's why they have no other choice apart from laying off people, right? So when the firms are shrinking, right, in the size, we are witnessing a rise in startup, which are actually outsourcing many activities to people, to expert service providers on contract basis. For example, Amazon and Flipkart have created one such beautiful network, right? Ola and Uber, for that matter, have created such beautiful network. While gig economy is popular among blue collar workers in India, right? The Ola, Uber drivers, there is now, you need to understand that after this COVID, we need to understand, see the world as uh, many see as CE, AC, BC, and all that, right? Before Christ, after Christ, the Christian era, right? The Hijri calendar. But right now, right, in terms of the technological advancement, we need to see pre-COVID and after COVID. We need to look at it like that. And there is
Excuse me,
a
Shazil, are you presenting any presentation? We are not seeing any presentation. Is there a presentation that you are sharing?
no, no, I'm not sharing any presentation. These are the excerpts from the researches and studies which I'm talking about.
Okay, sorry, I thought. Okay, continue.
Okay. So I think Brother Munir, thanks for that. Thanks for interrupting. I'll tell you, actually, recently I was on in a web conference which featured Dr. Kasturi Rangan. He is like the ISRO scientist, the ex-chairman of ISRO and Planning Commission of India. He mentioned that we need to totally come out of this PPT module. He said, you know what, if you want to engage someone in an online conversation or an online meeting, please get rid of PPTs. What happens is that there is a mentality. This is another. I'm just deviating a little bit just to add this point. There's a study which talks about people who attend online webinars or online programs. They tend to take screenshots and they say that my screenshots are badme seekhna. This is the mentality. They say I will learn from the screenshot, right? So, but to ensure that the message is effectively passed, so I preferred not to use a screenshot, not to use a presentation. However, I would be sharing some follow-up documents which can be shared with all the participants who are there, so that they can access all this. the reports, the studies which I'm talking about, and also the various platforms which we'll be addressing. Is that okay, Brother Munir?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I was talking about, right. So the blue collar, the blue collar. Right? So that's what we perceived earlier. Now after COVID, we have a huge potential for white collar workers as well. Increasing demands from industries, project specific consultants, your design makers, your website designers, your management consultants. We have, what do you say, job requirement for researchers. We have job requirement for doctors. Doctors can also be part of this, the whole gig economy platform infrastructure. The telemedicine, which has been, I was in a conversation with the director of Nimhans recently, Dr. B.M. Gangadhar. He mentioned that Nimhans has been leveraging the gig economy more than anyone else. And my question was, how is that? And he mentioned that we have moved into this telemedicine space. What happens is that on demand, whenever there is a need for a doctor is available. For that doctor, he's paid only for that particular job. He can switch on and switch off anytime, right? So this is brought, as I said, a paradigm shift in the way we look at it, right? So the gig economy, it is expanding from less skilled services, for example, domestic roles, such as, I think we had local Ramu, your Book My Chotu, I think, and globally, I think we had platforms such as your Fast Rabbit, etc. And in India right now, there is actually no need for skilled jobs such as Guru, your Upwork. So these are the platforms which are enabling that. So let us talk about how the global market is seeing this, right? It is estimated that the percentage of US workers participating in the gig economy will increase by 43% by end of 2020. And more than 90% of people who are living in the States would consider freelancing or independent contract work. Almost half of the millennials, right? So this is one of the gigs. So one of the myths I would be talking about, that gig economy is only for millennials. No, it is not, right? So millennials are more inclined towards it, but it is for everyone. The demand is there for more skilled, more experienced people, right? So 57% of contracting workers work for more than 40 hours per week. On an average, gig workers can earn, this may go as a negative point, but on an average, you can earn 58% less than full-time employees, but half, most of them, right? Most of this job will be at your convenience, right? Forbes did recently a study which they had published, where they said that 40% of independent gig workers are satisfied with their working hours, their job style, etc., because they are getting on-demand work, they're working at their specified hours, and there, most importantly, the the salary is something which they are bargaining online. We will come to the platforms which are enabling us to do that, right? And also MBO partners. There's another study. So this was done on the US workforce, right? More than 52% of people in the sample responded that they will either be gig economy workers or they will work independently at some point in their career, right? You see this, there is a shift. I mean, the West has started this. It was easy for, the West to start earlier. I will mention that a little later as to why, right? And according to survey from about 2 years ago, I was talking about, right? There was a survey done on desire to choose when to work. Whether more than 60% of people said we want to work at our convenience, right? And also, studies have shown that people who want to be part of the gig network, people who want to be, freelancers, they show better productivity. They avoid, the advantage for them is they avoid office politics and total recognition for talent, right? See, there is always a bad local job market, and there are a lot of health concerns. Right? See, if I may have to give example, I mean, I'm not sure many of you have heard. You may have seen it in memes, right? So if you have to travel from Kormangla through Silk Boat to Bomanhalli, right? That itself takes enough toll on your health to, what do you say, give you respiratory diseases. Corona is not required. All you have to do is travel through that on a lighter note, right? So there are numerous surveys, as I said, which are examining the top motives to choosing freelance work. Right, the percentages vary. I mean, everyone has a different sample size, so due to that. But main reason for becoming an independent worker is very similar across everyone, right? And fresh books, right? So FreshBooks is an accounting software company. So they have been providing softwares to they have been providing softwares to hire freelancers, right? Control their salaries, control their payout system. Uh, According to their survey, 65% of people who responded to that, it was a large sample size, they said, we want freedom to choose when to work. While 56% said that it's freedom to choose how hard to work, right? So I can decide how much hard work I have to put in. See, all of us over here, right? We have been professionals who have been working for companies. At some point in our career, we would have come across a situation where we have to, stay in office extended hours, stay up late in the night to complete the job which is required, right? That bit is cut down really, right? Over here, you decide. And I work so many number of hours. I'll cover that in a little more detail as we proceed. Right? And also in the same survey, 48% of respondents favored freelancing because of the autonomy in managing their career development. Right? So this is a very important point. So people want autonomy. They want to be complete control of the way they manage their career. Right? See, on the other hand, there are 55% of Gen Xers, right, or you call millennials or baby boomers, they browse Facebook groups, for virtual workers. They jobble, Upwork, freelancer, Upward, etc., to find some work. Right? So they are more inclined towards that. So this is with respect to the global market, the way you see. There is iota of difference when it comes to uh, the gig economy, the way it works in United States versus India, right? So where we are. See, the countries such as United States, these became the early adopters in the gig economy because due to the higher rates of digitization, they went digital very fast compared to us, right? And their economic development and disposable income. These factors are responsible for leading global companies being founded in the US, such as Uber, your Airbnb, Upwork, etc. So what Uber did, he said that, hey, you know what? You have a car, you don't have to stand in a place waiting, for someone to come and bargain the fare for you. I will fix the fare. I will fix, something which is desirable for the commuter as well as, the driver. And I'll give you a platform which you can use in order to, what he says, switch on and switch off whenever you want, right? So I pick up my car, I can go and drop someone and come back and close it. And then Airbnb came, right? So now we have multiple iterations of that in India, but Airbnb is global, right? So one of the very good examples of the economy. What happens is that Airbnb said, your vacation rental, vacation accommodation rental space. It said, you know what? If you want to go and live in a hotel, it will cost you a lot, right? So hotels start demanding more money as and when it gets filled up. Now, how do we kill this? So this idea was born out of that kind of a thought process. They said, you know what, every home which is available can be, a hotel in itself. And people living in that house can have an additional income. Today, cities like Bangkok in India, Goa, Delhi, they have a huge network of Airbnb homes. It's just a vacation rental space, and globally it is recognized and one of the top unicorns in vacation rental space. Similarly, so this is about the offline space I was talking about, Uber, Airbnb. So there was an online example in US, right? So Upwork. Upwork is a platform which I have been leveraging. I have been using it to hire people as well as I have been using it to, do some work. So initially in my career, right? So I have used Upwork about 4 years ago to do a market research, which was available, a market research gig, which I did. So that research was on education technology that took me into this world for education, right? So this is about US. On the other hand, developing countries such as India, right? They represent a great potential. They represent great potential as an adapter for gig economy due to the expanding supply of freelancers and lower skilled labor. With technology penetration and improvement in human capital, emerging economies such as India, your Southeast Asian countries will grow in a global gig economy at a very rapid pace. With US being more advanced economy, India can study the trends in US and promote the potentials of these tasks in India, right? So the best example of that is that the business models of Uber and Airbnb in US, these models were studied very well by Ola and Oyo rooms in India respectively, right? And then there was a new there were multiple other platforms which started coming up, right? They said there are some platforms which focus only on enabling providing home-based jobs for women. There are platforms such as your Frap, your Internshala, your Oven. All these people, what they do is that they hire you on a grid. So, having said that, what is the total addressable market in India? Right? As I said, gig economy has a huge potential, right? Some of the calculations, let's say, are the market size. When we reach a market size in India, the total population of India, approximately 1.3 billion plus. And the working age group is between 15 to 65. So 18 is a legal age, but we have 15 to 65. That is a working group, right? The working age of the population is 68.8%. It means 60, almost approximately 70%, that is 890 million, that is 89 crore people are actually on a labor force that are actually out there whom we can hire. This is much more than any other country except for China, right? So the labor force participation rate in number of workers employed or seeking employment as a percentage of working age population. Since currently in India, very few people in rural areas are comfortable using digital platforms to identify employment opportunities, right? So only the urban labor force has been considered in estimating the addressable market for gig economy in India. So the urban population of India, of the country, consists of 30%. That is around 138 million. When you consider that, India is actually, if you calculate that, India can be a value market of 34 billion for gig economy. That is a huge number. So that also gives out a call saying that who is this gig economy, right? So is it for just a working person? Is it for someone who's out of job? Is it someone who's fed up with his boss who's trying to get into it? So the uh, answer to that is it is for everyone. Anyone can be part of it. You may be a CEO of the company, you're part of it. You may be a fresher out of the college, you're part of it. You're an MBA intern, you're part of it, right? So the gig economy, right, having said that, can be divided into segments. Having said the India, the total addressable market size, can you imagine 34 billion. At an immediate level also, if you use the current available infrastructure, to reach 3.4 billion, the 10% of that very easy, right? So the gig economy can be divided into different segments, models as follows, right? So there are digital marketplaces, there are online marketplaces. So let's say we have in this group, we have plumbers, we have carpenters, we have say interior designers, we have AC technicians for all these people, right? With platforms as intermediary between two parties. There is always an assurance of receiving the service based on the specifications provided, right? So the platforms also offer value-added services to the end users, right? So let's take an example of urban plan. So you want to hire an interior designer. They help you connect with that person. They ensure that the person does the job, right? And they give you after sales services and a service guarantee that is very important, right? See, if not, this whole system would collapse without a service guarantee, without a proper customer. So Urban Clamp, your Care.com, your House Joy, for that matter, Helpline. So these are some good examples of digital marketplaces. And you have your services listing platform, right? So listing platforms, the demand for various professional services which can be matched with services we want. Essentially, it is a platform which platform combining the demand and supply of services in gig economy. There are developed terms and conditions to enable fair use of platform, but no additional support services are provided with it, right? Such as service guarantee, after sale, similar to similar to marketplace. There's nothing like that. So what are the good examples of that? You have your Freelancer, your Sulika ad, your Just Dial, right? So and you see how broad it is, gig economy. See the more we understand it, the more we start putting everything into the bucket, right? So your Guru is there, your Freelancer, your 99 design. These are all the listing platforms. Then the next is your asset and sharing services, right? So this is a business model where worker offers services such as transportation, accommodation, delivery. It builds a shared economy for assets and services, right? Let's say you have DSLR camera. I assume there are a lot of you over here in this conference. So this is addressed towards that. You have a DSLR camera. What I have seen is on platforms, listing platforms such as your Quicker, your OLX, you see these kids, they offer this camera for rent for a day. So you know what? That is the asset I have. I'm renting it for a day, for a short term period, right? So and they end up making some money out of that. See, this improves the standard of living, considering the affordability too, right? So things are not very exhaustive prices. So if you want to purchase a DSLR camera, minimum you have to shell out around 35,000 to 40,000. If someone is giving it to you, let's say, hey, boss, take it 300 rupees a day, use it and give it back to me. Your job half done and you save. However, I mean, having said that, there's so many positives we can talk about. There is a risk of disloyalty among users, right? And gig workers. For example, Uber driver will feel dissatisfied if he is not getting enough rewards or rides, right? Many of the times you see, your Ola or your Uber, they cancel the ride saying that, what, sir, this location is not desirable. The companies have started putting in their policy now that the drivers cannot ask for location. There are other risks such as quality assurance, due to the masses adopting this. Right? So let us now understand as to this will be boring for the youth, but and people seeking employment. But for entrepreneurs, the next part what I'm going to talk about is going to help them a lot. So I will be talking about who are the most active investors in the space, who are the companies that have been getting funding, and which geographies have been getting good funding. Let's say the job demand by occupation, right? So this was a study which was done by Gartner. So, I mean, there is also a misconception. Either you have to be a blue collar or an IT professional to, what do you say, enter the gig network. No, that's not. I'll just give you a breakdown. I think, presentation would have helped, but I would still give you, the breakup of that. There was 16% demand for sales and marketing out of a sample size, which was done across employers by Gartner. Gartner is one of the world's leading research companies. They said most of the employers, right, 16%, they wanted sales and marketing support as from the gig workers. Then there were about 12% of people that said, what, I need office and administrative support. Guys, please understand this is totally away from IT. It's totally away from development, right? And then there was 9% of them they demanded, they said, what, we want on-demand healthcare practitioners and technical support providers. And what, there were some e-commerce platforms companies. They said, what, we want gig workers to do our delivery, material movement, etc. I think that gave birth to your platforms such as your platforms such as Blackbuck, which is one of the largest marketplaces for delivery in India. Then there was a demand for food preparation and service. There was demand for business and financial operation. Only 4% of them wanted training, library, and education kind of thing. And IT was very less chunk compared to this the other categories I'm talking about. right? So computer and mathematical support, the IT related support, only 5% of the people from that particular sample wanted it. So now the whole gig economy, let's say it is a very big network. It can be divided into multiple more categories. Who are the stakeholders in this? One is the gig employer, right? There are gig networks, there are gig the gig IT platform, right? Companies which are giving IT platform to enable or to help flourish the gig economy. So you have your business management platforms such as your Zolo, your 17 hacks. There are project management platforms. At some point you will use Basecamp is there. You have your Hector, right? Then there are insurance providers, guys. I mean, there are insurance providers such as your Giga Cover, your Gigi Show, right? So what they do is they cover insurance for these, any kind of loss to gig workers. Then there are benefit providers, people who help in rewarding the gig network, such as your collective and your Penford. Then we have financial solutions, we have learning platforms, uh, freelance academy is one such. Then you have your networking platforms, the DOT, the Covalent, business accounts, accounting and invoicing, etc. This is this is, as I said, can be divided into multiple further sub models, right? So the gig economy is the umbrella. Under that, multiple things are flourishing. Let's talk about how the funding trends is. See, as an entrepreneur, see, I'm addressing all the entrepreneurs out there. See, you would want to know. See, if I build this particular website or if I build this particular solution, what is in it for me, right? So, is there a market out there? Are there any investors who are investing? Right. See, this is always a very interesting topic. So, anyone I interact with, I always say you should build something which can be adopted easily by the investors, right? So let's say how much funding has happened. Let's only talk about freelancer IT platforms. In freelancer IT platforms, in 2014 we saw 36 million equity funding, right? That excludes your debt and grants and debt grants, your IPOs, your ICOs, which happen in forms of your cryptocurrency, etc. That excludes all that. Then in 2017, it spiked up to 174 million. Then in 2018, about 164 million. And now 2020, we have already reached 120 million, and there is projections that there will be a funding of 400 to 500 million US dollars. Now you want to know who are these investors who are investing in, right? There's outside gig economy, but I just want to say investors are of many kinds, right? See, how do you fund a particular fund? Okay, so since I'm addressing the entrepreneurs, I'm just slightly deviating from the topic and just this important point which needs to be addressed. Who's the investor? Who gives you funding? Right? See, there is one type of company that is bootstrap. What you do is you pull in money from your friends, family, and you start, or you have your own capital to start. Then, when the company starts showing some kind of traction in number of users, in number of registrations, in case of its website, your views, in case of its mobile apps, in terms of mobile downloads, etc., investors start coming. There are accelerators and incubators. What an accelerator does is that you have bootstrap and startup. They help in amplifying its performance. Then you have your incubators. Incubators, they give you complete technical support as well as guidance in order to making this taking this to an early stage. Then there are venture capitalists. They come in when you are in early stage, right? So once that happens, then there are growth stage investors, right? Your private equity investors. Then comes your private equity investors that involves entities, your banks, as well as large companies, for example, large companies. And also there are single family offices who do funding. Your Hiranandani group, for example, your GD Goenka group. So all these people, they are single family offices, right? The office of Ratan Tata. So they do funding individually. So the most active investors, early stage investors, bootstrap I cannot say because that's usually your own money, and Sorry, I just saw a message in the chat. So bootstrap I cannot say because I mean it'll be mostly your money and you'll be doing. Whereas when it comes to seed stage investment, Astion has been one of the top investors. Your Hambro Works has been one of the top investors, right? Your 50, 500 startups, they have been one of the top employers. And when it comes to early stage, you have the Matrix Partners, right? Matrix Partners is present in India, in China, they're present in Southeast Asia, and also in Silicon Valley. So these people have, done majority of investment. Then say, what brand capital. Brand capital, again, they have invested in metal caps. Then you have Innovent Capital, they have invested in your Swiggies and your Bloom Ventures, Sequoia, one of the major names in the investment industry. They have invested in your Olas, your Tapsheet, your Angel List, your Axel Partners. These are some of the investors who have been very active. Some of the players from Southeast Asia and Chinese region, such as your Tiger Global Management, your US-based entities such as your SSF partners. These are people who have been very active in investing. So what I'm trying to say is that there is huge scope. There is huge scope for digital entrepreneurs in this space, right? As we are just at the tip of the iceberg, right? And we are going to see a lot more. The COVID is here, right? See, one of my friend, I was listening to one of his talk, Dr. Shakil Saab. He had mentioned, what, unless and until there is strict social distancing, we cannot kill this, right? So he had spoken about this back in, I think, in month of March or February, right? And so COVID is here to stay, right? The people who need to stand up now is one is the ecosystem creators, and people who need job, they already are standing. They are readily available over there. They will they will jump in, pounce in, and take the opportunities. And also for the entrepreneurs, one thing I want to highlight, right? See, apart from these guys, apart from you guys raising fundings, right? So um, you guys also get acquired, right? Companies want to get exit. Let's say you develop one platform, exit, move on, develop one platform. How do you exit? Exit can either be an acquisition or it can be in form of an IPO, where you go public, right? So similarly, acquisitions have also happened. Your Fiverr, it was acquired, and you have your TravelSoft, it has acquired the MBO partners. Your H&R Block, it has acquired Weave Accounting. So multiple such transactions have happened. So people providing IT solutions for this gig economy. So they've also got good amount of funding. So overall, if I want to break it down, right, how much funding has happened in the whole gig economy space? So the number is increasing yearly. In 2017, it was 8.52 billion US dollars, and it was spread across 391, 300, approximately 400 plus transactions. In 2018, it was approximately 10 billion with 340 transactions. The transactions are increasing, right? As more and more platforms come into place. I just want to give you an example of what are the, IT platforms in case of a company. Now, I think I have addressed the entrepreneurs in detail. I think I've spoken about the investment trends which are happening and, who are the most active investors and, what are the exits which have happened in this space. So now I want to talk about for the employers, right? For the companies, let's say IEEE, we are talking about. Let's say what is in it for them. What are the kind of companies? What are the kind of solutions which are available for them to leverage, right? So they can leverage platforms, right? Companies offering services for freelancers to manage their projects, clients onboarding, contracts management, etc., such as Foro, business management. Your bidding platforms are there, your project management platform, such as your e-applier, desk time, your financial solutions, Wave accounting. I think I have Wave accounting. I think I mentioned that before. And we have Conto, we have year-end, you have mobile wallets, right? So you need fair transfer of funds. It can happen over bank accounts, but if you have a mobile wallet, that will be good. So there are many companies which are coming into this. There are more than 77 companies that have come into the accounting space. there are very less companies in the insurance space, like I said, BG Shore, Giga Cover, etc. See, because they provide insurance on liability insurance as well as income protection. So these are some of the things. There are hardly about 2 to 3 players in this. So there is an opportunity there. Then you have networking platforms, right? So these companies that give you a networking platform to onboard freelancers, right? To start a discussion. Then you have learning platform, your freelance academy type of platform. Then you have your software tools directory. Then a lot of platforms where you can access a learning material. And also there are platforms such as Shift that is available for workforce management, your freelance workforce management. Your Shift Pixie that is for your workforce recruitment, Brigade for your hospitality management, healthcare, etc. Like what I'm trying to, the point I'm trying to make over here is that a lot of things have happened in this space. There is a lot of scope for this. There is a lot of scope and opportunity to develop more. And while the entrepreneurs, one small advice I have is that when you're looking at developing something for this ecosystem, please always do competitor analysis. Right? Competitor analysis is a very important aspect that needs to be what do you say looked into. And I think having said that, I think I've addressed the entrepreneurs. I have addressed the startups. I've addressed the entrepreneurs. Now let us talk about what do you say? What are the I think we are running. We are almost close to 47 minutes in the meeting. So I'll move on to the next topics because when we start addressing entrepreneurs, there are a lot of things which are there which needs to be covered. Because many of them are millennials, many of them are youngsters who, what do you say, who seek such knowledge which is not easily accessible in the market, right? So you may let's hear about some of what are the pros and cons of this digital economy. So I will talk about what are the pros for the workers and what are the cons for the workers. Then we'll talk about what are the pros for the employers and what are the cons. Right. See, first and foremost, I think from start I've been talking as per many of the studies, flexibility. Right. So you freelance as a freelance worker, you will have flexibility to work, flexible working hours as you desire. Right. Often a task is given with a date, end date, and how and when they'll accomplish is up to you, right? So I say, what? Hey, brother, what do you say? Shrikant, I want you to develop this website. For example, Shrikant is a person who developed our website recently for the institution. I said, I want you to develop. I'm giving you 7 days now. These are the pages I require, right? I do not want anything else from you. I do not want to hear from you. All I give you is the content. I've given you all the things. You complete within 2 days. You would complete within 7 days. It's up to you. But I'm giving you that deadline. This kind of flexibility is available. Then you know what? There is a greater independence, guys. Right? So many of the workers they find that given independence to complete their work, they can do it much more productive. This can be a great boost to their confidence, right? So that they believe that they can do it. And you know what? So this is applicable in the traditional workspaces, right? Traditional economies. And the third, point I want to talk about is the variety of jobs which are available. Right? As a gig worker, you can have you can move away from monotonous tasks to be done on each day. Right? You can actually choose different projects. You can choose different different gigs based on your creativity, based on your specialization, based on your technical knowledge. And also pay. The next point I want to talk about. Pay for freelance working is variable from company to company. Some of the top recognized freelancers, they demand their what do you say, demand the a pricing. Let's say per hour. So if I'll talk about what are the opportunities which are available in there. So over here you can set your own price. You say, what, per hour I want $10. Per hour I want $20. This job requires this many number of hours. So there you go. There that actually gives you extremely flexible. See, flexible is the word I'm going on using again, but the salary over here is also very flexible. It depends upon what you want. Sometimes what they give, right? So there's some of the cons. you need to understand as a worker, right, that you do not get any benefits. You do not get the traditional benefits, right? So, for example, for full-time employees, there is, in India, you have this ESI, you have your healthcare, you have your, incentive bonus plans, etc. That doesn't apply to a gig worker, right? Because we have not reached that level. The policy making has not reached that level that gig workers can be benefited. So there are no benefits, no permanent benefits, such as flexible. Seamless flow of income is not there. See what happens is when you take a break in a normal environment, right? You still get paid because you have these paid leaves, etc. But in gig economy, there is nothing like that, right? And one thing is you have to pay personal taxes. You have to pay taxes, and these taxes are incurred on freelance basis. It is 10% fixed as of now, and for India in India, and it keeps changing from time to time. And one biggest problem what under cons I would like to talk about is that people they are in isolation. Their social, like I said, social distancing that happens to such a level that you're stagnant to one place. You're not interacting with anyone. I think such other kind of times when platforms such as your MFRAD, I think Brother Saifullah, who's my guide. I mean, these people are trying to bring such people together, on platforms like this, where they're organizing a topic, gig economy, uh, on gig economy, which is more relevant to this time. So the isolation is something which will happen, right? You'll start feeling socially distanced. Then stress takes over there. Uh, what is the stress over here for a gig worker? Because we are going on talking about, I spoke about flexibility of time, what? I can complete it whenever I want. But the stress over here is of a different kind. See, the stress over here is gig economy workers have to be regularly working to find their niche and prepared for chances in the current one, changes in the current one. See, this can lead to a lot of stress as most people appreciate feeling secure and steady in their employment. Gig workers sometimes face unexpected changes in their jobs, from being let go to change in their salary. There's also stress being removed from other employees, and if there are questions or issues with the project that can be difficult to communicate. So that is one thing they have to be very particular about. So handling the stress of finding the next job. So in the end, I would also talk about how to prepare yourself for this, for the gigs and gig economy. But let's now address the businesses, the entrepreneurs over here. For entrepreneurs, right, the greatest advantage, the pros for you are the cost is 10 times lesser because you're only paying for the benefits which you're getting. There is no onboarding cost, there is no training cost, there is no new employee benefits, there is no, what do you say? You all those what do you say, benefits you have to give to an employee in a pay scale, in a traditional pay scale that is being waived off. Over here, companies can scale up very quickly. That's very important because you have access to an army of freelancers. You can do, let's say I want to build artificial intelligence based platform. Yesterday, I was talking to a company where we are building a blockchain platform for verification of various things, right? And there we have about 8 blockchain experts who have come in as who have taken this project as a gig. You see, I mean, you know what? To hire 8 blockchain experts, a company, it would cost a lot. But over here, you can scale very easily because you are hiring only people for what you want, right? And also, there is diverse pool of flexible workers. There is huge pool out of available work. Not that in a normal circumstances it is not there. While talking about the two points, this actually is an added advantage. Then for businesses, there's now some challenges, right? So what are these challenges? Sometimes these gig economy workers are looking for remote job because they are not willing to work as hard. This is a true story. See, not in the current times, it may not be very relevant because everyone wants a job, everyone wants to earn, right? But maximum number of times people are looking for short-term jobs because They do not want to, have that responsibility of managing a team or listening to their boss or following instructions. So finding reliable workers will be a challenge. Then there are regulations, regulatory issues that come up with respect to how you handle your contracts, what are the payments you're making, what are their credentials to whom you're paying, right? So uh, this landscape is ever changing for the corporate world, right? So while there are both pros and cons for freelancer workers and also for the businesses, both of you can flourish in this at the same time. There's some potential risk, right? So there is overall I'm talking about, not just businesses. There is uncertainty about job security, so you need to get rid of that. So you need to strike a balance between flexibility and security. There is a question. Okay. I think that was Brother Munir. Okay. Now I think we have covered most of the points which we wanted to talk about, right? And I want to address some of the myths, guys. Like in the start, I mentioned that this is a myth. What is the myth, right? So people make up stories for which there is no research-based backing, right? So these are the myths. Uh, First and foremost, people talk saying that gig economy. This is only for millennials, right? uh, only youngsters will get a job over here because they are getting, they are trained in this tool, that tool. That is absolutely wrong, right? So if I have to take, because India, I do not have a research or study available, but from US, only 24% of people are millennials. The rest all are your regular workers. So in gig economy, there is more participation from regular workers than the millennials. So that is a myth you need to kill because EY has done a beautiful study on that. I think that report, I may have it available. I'll have it shared, with Brother Munir and with Brother Sai. And, the second myth, we are all going to be giggers. We are all going to be freelancers. And see, the size of the gig economy and how fast it's growing uh, is actually phenomenal. Whereas it is not reached that scale. See, if I'm talking about 1 trillion market, the world is much more bigger than that, right? So if I talk about only the education market in India, that is around 2.292 billion, right? How can I have giggers? Everyone has giggers away, right? So that is a misnomer which is given that we are all going to become giggers soon. But I think what, for better or good, for financial flexibility, you can get it in that. And there are there are people who say gig work is unfulfilling, right? So there's a perception that gig jobs are dead end jobs, right? So you come in, you go. After that, you don't know who you are. So this is a myth. Because what happens is that every time you complete a successful job, your profile is growing, right? So on these lines, I mean, again, I'm quoting this from the EY report, which I had read, right? So on these lines, right, more the number of job gigs you do, more the profile grows. And there is never a dead end to this. There is never a dead end, right? So these are some of the myths I felt that which are prevalent, which people generally talk during their coffee discussions, which I thought should be addressed. And now I want to talk about the last part of our discussion. It's already 4 o'clock, so I'll try to cover this little part. How to prepare yourself for the gig economy, right? So as a employee, as an individual who wants jobs, how do you prepare yourself? See, first and foremost, guys, we need to fix our minds. Right. I'm talking about mindset. See, the biggest difference between going for a gig and having a fully functional role with a steady income is that as a full-time gig worker, you have to become an entrepreneur. You are not an entrepreneur. See, that is also another myth. I'm sorry, I didn't cover it earlier, right? So it's a myth that as a gig employee or a freelancer, you become an entrepreneur. No, guys, a freelancer is not an entrepreneur, but you have to think like an entrepreneur. You have to understand the financials, the networking, the human psyche deeply. See, the mindset is very difficult to cultivate, especially when you are conditioned in a single function. That does not come naturally to you, right? See, the established gig workers. See, I'm just sharing the best practice. The established gig workers, people who get regular jobs on gig platforms, they network very well. So you need to be out there on social media talking about relevant topics. Let's say your specialty is embedded systems. Let's say your specialty is, content writing. Let's say your specialty is, web development. You need to be, out there talking about that. Where do you talk about it? See, LinkedIn is very good. I recently read a beautiful article by brother Saif. He had written about, what are the various education platforms which are available, what are the ways we can, enhance ourselves. A beautiful article. See, this is available for everyone to write. You have some knowledge, you share it. You have Twitter, that is on LinkedIn. You have Twitter. Twitter is a great platform to get visibility, right? See, most of my connects with the education world came through Twitter. For example, your Baiju's, your government of Karnataka. So all these connects I got through my presence on Twitter. You need to be digitally active. Then you need to develop partnerships. You say, you know what, you do one job for the company. You say, boss, let me be empaneled as one of your, seekers. Every time you want a gig job to be done, you reach out to me. I will give you a better cost than anyone else. Cost can be just one factor of negotiation, whereas skill set can also be another one. Quality of work can be another one. Delivery time can be another one. So these are all the things, points which you use, and you develop partnerships. Uh, you need to also, right, uh, be positive, and when there is no jobs available. See, what happens is that you will do a project. Let's say in a month you're getting 5 projects, which you have completed within 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks you may not have jobs, but you need to be positive. What you need to do, how to prepare for the next gig, is that you need to use the time to upskill, learn, and complete a completely new skill. Right? See, learning blockchain is very easy, guys. There is a demand for blockchain engineers out there. Right? See, the government of India is planning to build blockchain-based infrastructure for various what do you say documentation. Your government of Thailand, in my research I come across, they had released a statement that they will be issuing blockchain based passports. Right, blockchain is something, a hyperledger which cannot be cheated. So that is a new skill. Then artificial intelligence is there. Then you have Java, which has always been a language which many people prefer in order to develop their platforms. You need to upskill yourself during this time, and also you need to build credibility. How does credibility come? Right, you get credibility through your certifications in your field or the specialization, right, which you have taken. To build this credibility, you need to actually enroll for online courses from platforms that are providing you certificates. So EDX is one such platform which I leverage personally, right? And for my MOOCs, your massive online open courses, you take up these courses. These are short duration courses which give you a certification that this person is certified in so and so, right? So let's say I was certified by University of Health and business modeling, business models innovation. Right? That added a great value to my profile. Similarly, you all need to have that list on your profile in your social media and also on the platform. And also, right, you need to learn the art of negotiation. You need to set clear expectations, right? That in written contracts with the clients, such as your milestones that are clear, that should be clearly listed out. You need to first do a self-assessment. When as to what am I capable of doing. See, in a traditional job, what happens, guys? This is a reality, right? See, when we hire employees in traditional jobs, what they say is that you know what. My job boss is given a deadline of 1 week. मैं तो 2 दिन के लिए छुट्टी ले रहा हूँ. You know what? After that, when I come back, then I'll work. I'll say, you know what? My number of work days was only 3 in this week. Next week, two more days, I'll do it on Tuesday. Right? See, this is the kind of mindset we need to come out of. Right? You need to define, self-assess yourself. Okay, how much time you can do that job. Right? So you need to set clear expectation, and there is always a merit, guys, in investing in optics. right? See, you know what? You can go to meetings, you can, go to visit a co-working spaces and try to understand how these people are working, right? And you need to also understand what do the companies want. You need to be socially aware. See, I always do as a daily diet, I read at least one article a day, right? So you need to ensure that you read at least one article a day and add a lot of things to your mental diet, right? So I think I want to apologize, but for deviating, but I want to bring this important point. See, this in this age of online and social media, reading a book has become very important, right? I attended a webinar with of psychiatrists recently, where one of the studies said that the human's attention span is reducing day by day with advent of technology. What book you could read in 2 days time, now you can watch a video of 1 hour and you can learn from it, right? And you know what letter to your friend used to reach in a day's time or 2 days time or a week's time, the same message on social media is reaching within the span of seconds, right? See, this is making us very impatient, and this is actually creating a want for more. So we need to have a mental diet in place. So the best mental diet is ensure that you read an article a day, because that brings in patience. At least read one book in a month. Try to book any book it can be of your specialization, or it can be something different specialization. You can bring a transdisciplinary approach with that. Transdisciplinary approach to your work life cycle. So, and also read and understand what the companies are looking. Be very socially aware. Be aware about the current affairs. What is happening in various geographies, where I can expect what from. So these are things you need to be very clear about. So I think that covers how to prepare for gig. I think there are a lot of many other ways of doing that. Right, there are many other ways of doing that, but these are some of the things which I thought. Would be helpful, which I could present to you people. And lastly, the last part of the discussion, I think I'll take a minute or two, or maybe more, a minute or two more, to conclude my discussion, because I want to now highlight which are the platforms and what are the type of jobs which are available. Because this was one of the requirements from the organizer, Brother Munir and Brother Saib. They had mentioned to me, that you need to ensure that you also give what are the readily available kind of jobs. So while we spoke that jobs are beyond just IT, but a few sub jobs. See, IT jobs, everyone is aware. Your database administrators, your ERP, CRM creators, your network system specialists, your software testers, right? Software testers do huge demand. Usertesting.com, one such platform which is hiring. Then you know what you have, electrical engineering freelancers which are required, the product designers, even lawyers for that matter, right? See, contract law freelancers, your criminal law people, your family law people, your paralegal services, and also translation services. See, we get a lot of queries on translation, translation services. If you know one language, how to translation. Then there is medical translation. Earlier it was an offline industry. A lot of people were working in medical transcription, but now that is slowly moving online, or rather, it's moving at a rapid pace. That is available. People without any specific technical knowledge can get into these. You can also, there is demand for article and blog writing, right? So if you're good at something, never do it for free. See, this is what gig economy makes it true, right? So you can write academic writing, research, etc. You can write blogs. Companies are hiring there. See, these are jobs. As I'm talking right now, I can see it live on your Upwork and your Fiverr. I will talk to you about the major networks, because I just want to say what are the major jobs, right? Then you have your grant writing. See, if you're really good at writing grants, you know what? Hey, you know what? I wrote a grant. I wrote a proposal for a grant and I got it, and now I've become an expert because I've got two grants. How do I make money out of this rather than just do it? You can just go online. These kind of jobs are available. Then there are a lot of people who are seeking, guidance on resume building, cover letters, etc., web content, technical content. Let's say this is my mobile phone. I want to, write technical. I want the user wants us to write technical content. The employer. They say, what is the specification of this? What is the specification of camera? All this, beautifully you have to write. I think I mentioned the importance of need of sales and marketing jobs. There are display advertising, your email marketing, lead generation jobs. You have your public relation, your search engine optimization, your search engine management, your social media management, social media accounts, telemarketing, telecallers. For in India, I mean, one platform which has successfully implemented this telecalling is Squadron. Squadron is the platform, right? I think I had given this details in earlier, discussion as well. Some of the brothers are aware about what I'm talking. Is what they're doing is they are taking from freelancers. Um, they are taking freelancers, women folks specifically, married women, women with children who are at home. They're saying, what, you log into my mobile app, whenever you want, you make a call. I will give you a script what to read to the user. It will be about deliveries, it will be about orders, it will be about notification, etc. And I'll pay you per call. What a beautiful system, right? So it's helping the mothers. It is helping the mothers become mommy waiters, right? From an innovator, what do you say, entrepreneur, momtrepreneur. And that's one of the terms which I had heard recently. So these are the kind of jobs which are available. Now, let us talk about the platforms. If you can make a note, well and good. I will also try to share the rest with you. So we have Fiverr. Fiverr is a online marketplace for services, right? Then you have your freelancer, right? So it is used for outsourcing, crowdsourcing, hire freelancers, etc. It has major functionalities, the freelancer.com. Then you have Skyward, right? This is a content centric platform for brands and for brands and creating exceptional customer experiences. So what they do is they provide you an army over there. People per hour. This is another beautiful platform, a marketplace connecting small businesses and freelancers all over the world. And in India, I think someone who has done well is Guru.com, right? Say they provide businesses with tools to find and hire talented freelancers all over the world, and also they help freelancers prepare for the opportunity and develop the skills. We have Bark, we have Blue Rang, then we have what do you say, Envanto Studio, right? It's a community of handpicked designers, right? And then we have I think I just spoke about it. Upwork, right? I forgot one of the major platforms which I've been leveraging. Upwork is there. Upwork is another platform where you can set your price. People will come and see your reviews, etc. Right? So the better you get, the more the number of gigs you get. Then you have your TopTal, the Gun.io. These are some of the major platforms which are available out there. Upwork has been something which I have been using, guys. So that has been what do you say, to hire as well as to hire people as well as we'll say search for gigs. So Upwork has been something which has worked out really well for me. It will work out well for you, and you can also give guidance. As see, I assume most of us, majority 99% here are people who have who are educated. Who can also educate people from the blue collar space. There are a lot of blue collar platforms in India itself. I'll take some names. The gig employers. See, Ola is a gig employer. You have Swiggy, which is a gig employer. Black Buck, an online portal for freight transport forwarding. That is a gig employer. Your Meru Cab is a gig employer. I'm talking this about Rapido, right? That's a gig employer. So there is what do you say? DriveZ, right? Online self-service car and motorcycle service. They also hire what do you say, gig employers. House Joy, right? House Joy was one. Right, House Joy is one. You have Tiny Owl. You have what do you say, which was acquired by Ola. You have Go Mechanic. You have Jugnu. Right. See, we always come across people who are mechanic, auto garages. You can also make them part of this gig economy by informing them about these opportunities which are available out there. There are Freight Tiger, Bluehorn, so many other opportunities in India. I will definitely share this links with you because I think if you have given your time over here to understand the economy and various points which we had to discuss, I think it will be what do you say? It'll be very beneficial if you become a promoter of this. I mean, if you feel it right. And also 99 design. Witty pen is another one, guys. If you're good at writing, let's say articles, press releases, etc., so you can leverage from all that. So on that note, guys, I would like to end my talk. Uh, I would like to thank again IEEE for giving this wonderful platform and to address people on this important topic that is such a need of that. Brother Munir and Brother Saib, I want to thank you. In last, I just want to say one quote of what you say, which says of an industry leader. She said, the gig economy is a new composition of how people are making money and structuring their employment. Thank you so much, guys. Look forward to hearing your questions now. Munir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Shazil Ahmed. I think this was at least mind-opening for me. Like, I think I learned quite a lot. I was not aware of. Thanks for that enlightenment. I have few questions. I think only two of them at this point. Probably people hearing these questions might get more ideas and ask more questions. I would start with Dr. Sharma asking this question: how the gig economy is changing the workforce? Is there any change required in the existing labor laws due to this?
So, I have been interacting with a lot of public policy makers. I mean, if you visit worldforumforeducation.org and if you register, we have organized webinars on this specific topic. There is a strong need for public policy change, right? See, because as I said, there is gig worker doesn't have that security, and also the payments are processed through a third-party platform. See, I'm being negative over here, but I mean to address your question, that is an answer, right? How these are regulated, because this is not because this is happening through a centralized place. There are no smart contracts involved. Whereas I think it will get better as new technologies come into it. For example, if people leverage blockchain in order to develop those freelance marketplaces, I think the smart contract system over there will help in the policymakers in handling a lot of things. In US, there are strict policies on contract employment. In India, that is not there yet. I think there is a shift which is required in the Indian what we say employment ecosystem to address this issue. I hope that answers your question. If you have any follow up, please let me know.
All right. Thank you. And going to the next question, I have this from Mr. Wasim Pallan. What are the platforms for gig work related to our field? I think you have kind of answered that question and you spoke about it. So I would probably wait for that list that you would provide, and then we can share that list with all the participants.
Right. I just want to add one more point over there. I think Brother Wasim, who had asked the question, I just want to add a point here. So the point is, I think I forgot to mention one more thing is about these customer service jobs and also assessing yourself. I think in that I mentioned you need to understand what are your skills, Brother Wasim, the skills which you have available, and how those skills can get you jobs. You need to list yourself on these platforms. I'll have it shared according to your skill set, saying that my strength is this, my experience is this, I want to list in this. I do not have to be stuck in one place because this is not Naukri.com. I can as well as I'll write design content. I'll say that I'll develop web application and on-premise application. So this is how you need to list yourself. So listing where to list that I will definitely have it shared with you because that is very important. Thank you. Over to you, Brother Mohammed.
I think that those are the questions that I have. The other questions are more on the organizational level that I can take it over directly. So other than that, I do. Yeah, I think that's pretty much. I get a acknowledgement and probably a good interesting thing. Like the one of the participant is. Acknowledging that it was a very interesting and informative session. Thank you, Dr. Sharma. And with that, I think there are no further questions. Yes, this session has been recorded, and we will share it to you once we get the. Usually, WebEx takes a couple of hours, I guess. And this being a weekend, probably you'll get the recording session by Monday. So, with that, I think I do not have any other further questions. If anybody has any questions, this is your time. Please shoot your questions, and then we can request Shazil to ask the questions. I'll give 1 minute. If anybody has any questions, please. We have more users who are telling that that it was a very informative session. I think I agree with that. It's a very informative. Hats off to you that usually people take the what you call the support of the presentations to speak, but I think you've done a wonderful job, and I think that's a good thing. Okay, I have another question here. We just got a question from Suhaib Ahmed. The question is there any platform that is there for sales and marketing?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely right. So there are platforms for specifically which are designed for sales and marketing, right? There is autonomy for sales and marketing, but majority of these platforms are all what do you say multi-category. Okay, so multi-category platforms. See, for example, a brand, someone like branded, right? See, you can say that they are strictly a sales and marketing platform, right? And you have Upwork. Upwork is one platform which is categorizing under multiple categories it provides. One of the major categories is that what is of sales and marketing. There are a lot of sales and marketing jobs. As I said, Squad Run for that matter, right? Squad Run for that matter, it is actually taking services from you, right? So that is one of another platform. So also, I think thank you so much, Brother Suhaib, for asking the question. That also makes me when I share the list with you, I will segregate that list as well as to who's doing what, so that based on your specialization, you can apply. That makes things easy for you.
Yeah, I think that will be great because the next question is also something similar, wherein Syed Hussain is asking any platform for biomedical engineers. So, if you can also look into various aspects of the various technological aspects, that will be great. Probably we
Yeah.
can extend it because I'm sure there are many what you call just off the college, there are even students who are out there. It would be beneficial if they can also get some part-time job or something that they can do with it. With this also, I personally also have a question. I know this is one you've been talking more on the gig worker side of it, and my question is more from a standardization aspect. So, do you think, or do you think there is a gap in the standards that you find which can be addressed or which can be looked at? Do you have any? Well, you have gone through many different platforms. Do you see a need for it?
See, I'll tell you. I think I mentioned this while I was talking about. The pros and cons, right? See, one of the biggest pros for the organization, while I was talking about what do you say? Sorry, cons for the organization is when reliable workers, right? See, over here, sometimes what happens is someone is listing their profile so well, and if it's a hit and miss that you invest your time and money in this person and it doesn't turn out to be good, right? We need to have certain standards in place for everything. So I think there is a strong need for that. There are most of the online platforms right now. To be honest, see for example your Fiverr, your Upwork, your Guru, all these platforms have certain standards in built. What happens is that you need to have certain qualifications in order to do a certain kind of a technical job, right? If that question is directed from there. But for most of the common jobs, I think there is it's 50-50. I can say there is chance of hit and miss, but what do you say? Standards have been adopted. So you are selecting people, the gig workers, as an employer from the employer side of it. You're selecting based on their reviews of the previous jobs. Whereas for a first timer, it will be a concern for you because you do not know how will you do this. you only selecting him based on his skill set, what he's portraying. But with platforms taking ownership of that, right? See, Upwork and other platforms, they're taking a lot of ownership of these kind of issues to ensure that the employers are not at loss, and also the giggers are not at loss. So standardization will come as we proceed with adapting. As I said, it's a very small market as of now. Right? For me, the way we see the world economy, 1 trillion is a small market. It is tend to grow. It will grow.
Yeah.
And when it grows, standardization will come into picture.
Thank you. There are two more questions, and then after that we'll stop this. And the question that I have is, usually what happens this, and when we are hiring somebody, especially if it is a gig worker uh, with some skill, and we are not aware, like how much skill is, and also since it is very flexible, it also comes with many disadvantages as well, because the job cannot be done, we though because it's completely flexible, right? The worker might not be serious, or so how do we manage these kind of situations, like wherein uh, the worker itself, though it might be skilled, but the work might not yet completed and things like that.
So thank you so much, Brother Muni. Very important question actually. I think this is from the employer side of it, as I see. See, how do you manage? See, the answer to this is in your traditional management. How did the traditional management become efficient, right? So your traditional people management in your normal job. See, because you started bringing in CRMs in place, you started bringing in say ERPs in place. Similarly, I think I covered about the gig employer IT platforms, platforms which are enabling gig employers to efficiently what do you say, get their work done. So this is for workforce management, for time tracking. See, there are companies such as Clockin, right? There are 10 such companies in this space. What they do is, they help businesses to track and monitor the freelancers' time, the amount of time they're spending on one particular work, right? So all the work is done on that platform. So we need to leverage these things in order to be foolproof. If I say that, I'm just giving someone a job over a phone call or over a OLX listing, that may not be very efficient. So if you have to drive efficiency, you need to have effective communication tools, effective management tools, and also effective what do you say, recruitment tools.
Yeah, I think if you it would be very helpful, even if you can, when you're listing out all the links, if you can also list out from an employee perspective, that will also be very helpful.
No problem. I would definitely do that.
Uh, yeah, the other question is something similar, but basically there are many skilled workers who are unaware of the digital platforms, or they're unaware of online platforms. How do we, they might have a fear of getting online. So how do we get them on board?
See, first and foremost, the answer to that is we need to be in connect with people like Brother Munir. He was organizing sessions like this. So these are information knowledge sharing sessions. Secondly, actually, as I said, there needs to be a shift in the mindset. See, that is what I was talking about, right? When I was addressing that how to prepare for a gig, yourself for a gig. You need to have that mindset. You need to clear your mindset, saying that what I need to understand what are the pros and cons of business. I need to understand what are the pros and cons of getting into a gig space. So the day I get knowledge of that, it becomes very easy for me to navigate myself across the web and explore the opportunities. But you need to come out of it. See, one more suggestion. I think I missed it while I was addressing initially. Is that, guys, you do not have to quit your regular jobs to be part of this gig network. Right? See, most of the big companies, see, for example, your IBM, your Dell, your Lenovo, some of them whom I have been associated with past, they have these conflict of interest policies. See, they have listed out a list of jobs that are not conflict of interest with your job. You need to understand and identify that as well. Right? See, the more day you identify that, then you say, what, weekend I have Saturday, Sunday. Some of them have Sunday. I want to dedicate 4 hours to article writing. I'm just giving that as an example, right? that is not conflict of interest with what Dell is doing because they are manufacturing computers and your cloud networks, right? That is not contradictory. So you can go ahead and do that. You make some extra money. So as I said, brother Munir, we need more information sharing sessions. What I will do is I'll propose to the World Forum for Education to have a separate group created on the platform itself for sharing information on gig economy. Okay, where the participants over here can also join the World Forum for Education.org. It's a true forum of its kind where a lot of knowledge sharing is happening. A lot of global leaders are part of it. So once you join there, I'll try to create a group so that there is seamless sharing of information which happens.
Thank you. And this is the last question. Promise I will stop after this. This question is more on the building of the platform itself. Like, what are the key considerations that one can think of if we want to build a gig platform?
Okay. So it again would require a lot of time to answer that, but very quickly I'll try to summarize that. See, any platform you're trying to build, right? See, I always tell this. I mean, because I interact with a lot of people. In fact, I myself have been a failed entrepreneur twice, and then alhamdulillah, started proceeding growing. Uh, Biggest mistake what I did was I didn't do competitor analysis. When I launched the services business back in 2012, I didn't do a competitor analysis as to who are my competitors. See, you need to whenever you're building a platform, understand the market, understand the competitors. If there is someone who is existing, unless you are launching something new, a creative business model. If you want to launch something new, a very creative business model, then also you need to do demographic study. Okay, so if I launch Ola app, let's say I'm taking Ola as an example, in a city like let's say in a city like Tumkuru, right, like it's just few hundred kilometers from Bangalore. But if I'm developing that app for that particular area, may not be successful because see, you may have people who wants to use it, who wants to the blue collar workforce who wants to come over there and provide the services. But is there a market out there? What is the audience mood? See, an audience analysis is very important. So always before you launch any platform, try to do surveys. Uh, Try to be your own customer first, right? So for all the we see young entrepreneurs or upcoming entrepreneurs, I always say try to be your own customer. See, a great entrepreneur always builds a product for themselves. See, in case if I get an opportunity to cover this topic in detail, it would be an honor. I would discuss with Brother Saifullah. I think Brother Suhaib have also mentioned a lot of time that to cover about funding, to cover about entrepreneurship and challenges. So in future, we'll try to do that. We'll notify all of you about it. But again, all in all, you need to gauge the audience mood as to whether the one is the audience is ready for it, whether there is a market shift which has created this. For example, I'll give you the biggest example. Right, digital wallets. We were not very accustomed to that. What brought us all onto the digital market? There was one company, right, which grew around 3,900 times during this demonetization. The transactions on that. Was the market ready for it before that? No, the market was very naive. What happens is that it suddenly matured all of a sudden. So similarly, you need to read the geography, read the audience, read the market, what is happening, and build the solutions accordingly. So right now, everyone wants to build a video conferencing solution, but they do not understand it already exists. A lot of people come forward and say, "I'm trying to build this. I'm trying to add this thing unique." I said, as long as there is something unique, which you feel as yourself, as your own customer, feel value, then it is very good. So I think I would like to briefly sum up my point on that. So if we require much detail, then we can have a discussion offline or over email or a chat.
Uh, I think with that, we'll call it a day. I think it was really informative, and I would like to really thank you, Shazil, for a wonderful presentation here. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all the participants. Being a weekend, they have participated. I think it was a good participation, and I think we had some good interactive questions. Looking forward to future interactions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day. Assalamu alaikum.